The challenges of inadequate budget, number of personnel with knowledge and capacity, as well as powerful influences and pressures, both benign and malignant.
View na there are plenty of good people sa DNR, but at the moment, hindi ho natin siya nararamdaman at hindi rin ho siya nararamdaman ng ating mga kababayan.
Thank you very much. This was highlighted by the recent discovery of a resort structure within the Chocolate Hills Natural Monument, a 13,994.95 hectare protected area and recognized UNESCO Global Geopark. Status of and reported illegal structures within the protected areas is a testament to Congress's unwavering commitment to conservation and environmental stewardship, recognizing the critical importance of protecting and maintaining the natural, biological, and physical diversities of our environments. While the intersecting ecological, physical, and social geographies have different boundaries, ultimately, the establishment of protected areas is legislative in nature. We respectfully recognize that these are therefore deeply in line with the authority of Congress to investigate and assess the effectiveness of the law in terms of existing protection and conservation measures in these areas, as well as to identify both old and new threats. The e-NIPAS law has been tested against the context of rights that preceded its passing, the various national and local laws and formal and informal agreements that have altered the distinct landscapes and seascapes, the need for livelihoods and the support to the national economy, the challenges of inadequate budget, number of personnel with knowledge and capacity, as well as powerful influences and pressures, both benign and malignant. The Chocolate Hills was established as a protected area by RA 11038. It is a symbol of our national heritage, and this has become under scrutiny due to the construction of a resort facility that may have overstepped, in fact, legal and environmental boundaries. The Chocolate Hills are not only a figure of our nation's natural beauty, but also proof of our commitment to conservation. The presence of the resort facility undermines these values and threatens the integrity of the natural monument. Unfortunately, we believe our investigations will yield even more human-induced impacts on this fragile geological system. Our initial investigation has revealed that Captain's Peak Resort appears to be a titled property among the vast alienable and disposable areas within the area. Not only is there one title or two, we have discovered there is a third title involved. This mandate must be fulfilled by the DENR despite its resource limitations to ensure compliance and our limited enforcement capacity. Nonetheless, under this administration, we remain steadfast. The department is fully aware that what has happened in the Chocolate Hills Monument is not in isolation. Other protected areas require investigations. In the case of Captain's Peak Resort, the proponent failed to secure an ECC, a necessary requirement under the NIPAS Act, in order to determine any potential significant adverse impacts of the project or activity on the protected area. While the present law allows development activities and special uses as ecotourism facilities, the provision of renewable energy and water supply within our protected areas, these are, however, subject to regulatory requirements and safeguards that the proponent should strictly abide to, namely, the alignment of the proposed project to the management plan of the protected area. The proposed project should be within the multiple use zone and securing the PAMBI clearance and an ECC and an FPIC as required. These are in place to ensure that the development does not come at the cost of environmental degradation and biodiversity loss. Realizing the occurrence of similar incidents in other areas, the department has come up with the following actions. First, I have instructed all regional offices to conduct an inventory of all existing structures within the PAs and evaluate the compliance thereof with environmental regulations and standards. And with the indulgence of the committee, Madam Chair, there are presentations on the different protected areas that have been mentioned. Secondly, regional offices were also enjoined to conduct a comprehensive review of all ECCs issued for projects within PAs. Third, there will be approval, the approval of by regional offices of ECC applications for projects within PAs is now suspended until further notice. And all pending and future ECC applications within the PAs will be processed at the EMB Central Office, and this must secure the endorsement of the Biodiversity Management Bureau. Fifth, it is also in this context that the DNR, the DILG, and the DOT issued a joint statement of collaboration, and Honorable Secretaries Abalos and Frasco and I have made recommendations on the approval process, including the composition of the PAMB. We respectfully acknowledge with thanks the strategic and operational partnerships with the DILG and the DOT on many intersecting environmental issues. Lastly, this year, I have also directed all regional offices to submit the complete inventory of all protected area community-based resource management agreements, or PACBARMA, and determine that those that are non-compliant and they must be recommended for cancellation. This is also in line with the ongoing collaborative efforts of the DNR, the DOJ, the DILG, the DSWD, in response to the Senate inquiry on Socorro, Siargao Protected Land and Seascape. The first phase of cancellations will be effected this month. We trust that these efforts will allow us to fully examine the actions of all stakeholders involved in the PAs, including not just the DNR, the PAMB members, the private sector, the NGOs, and the local government units and their constituencies. It's imperative that we establish the histories behind the facts, understand the implications of these developments, and take the appropriate legislative action to protect and conserve our protected areas. It is also imperative that we recognize that in environmental protection and conservation, there is no such thing as a monopoly on good. These are whole of society and not just whole of government efforts. We therefore respectfully urge that the two committees to support and ensure the passage of the bill creating an Environmental Protection and Enforcement Bureau, a long-term legislative measure that will strengthen the environmental law enforcement capacity of the DNR in our protected areas. As we proceed with these investigations, the DNR is committed to uncovering the truth that lies in the history of these challenges, holding those responsible accountable, instituting internal organizational changes which are already underway, and recognizing any legislative measures that the two committees may so propose. The effects of decades of past legislation, proclamations, specific human decisions, and powerful influences and pressures, both benign and malignant, cannot be undone in a matter of months. Under this administration, we will, however, work tirelessly to protect our natural heritage and enforce the laws designed to protect it. There are good men and women in the DNR. Without their efforts and our organizational transformation, we would not be able to do this job. We aim to further build an organization that is fit for purpose.
But in general, what is the policy when it comes dun sa mga protected areas? Like permitting, ano ba talaga yung areas that can be developed for ecotourism? Meron ho bang ganung dokumento ang DNR that will be cascaded dun sa mga PAMB within the protected areas?
Thank you very much for that question, Madam Chair and Senator Binay. There is a policy construction, and the implementing rules and regulations of the INAIPAS are actually the guidance for the different practices and policies. There are in the protected areas multiple use zones and strict protection zones. However, there are also other rights that will need to be recognized if they preceded the enrollment in the INAIPAS list. In the case of Chocolate Hills, as you will see, Madam Chair, of the 13,900 or so hectares, about 13,500 are actually alienable and disposable prior to the enrollment of the Chocolate Hills in the INAIPAS list. So those are some of the rights that we need to contend with, because there are titles that had been issued already historically. And I'll turn over to Yusek Adobo for the legal basis for that.
Yeah, but the question has been answered, Madam. Yes, we have regulations to follow.
And nati-check nyo naman ho yung compliance because, I mean, based dun sa nakikita namin dun sa mga protected areas, parang it's just a piece of paper, di ba? Parang wala akong ginagawa yung mga taga-DNR sa baba to implement yung supposed to be IRR in protecting the protected areas. Na in fact, katulad ho dito sa Chocolate Hills, kaya ho to pumutok kasi meron hong isang vlogger na pinopromote niya yung Captain's Peak para bisitahin. Di ba? Hindi pa nga dahil may concern tayong citizen to protect Chocolate Hills, but actually to protect to promote the resort. So, yun na nga, katulad doon ng nasabi niyo, Secretary Loyzaga, I agree with you na there are plenty of good people sa DNR, but at the moment, hindi ho natin siya nararamdaman at hindi rin ho siya nararamdaman ng ating mga kababayan.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And to respond to that, under the INAIPAS law, the construction and the membership of the PAMBI, the Protected Area Management Board, is vital to understanding why, in fact, the management of these areas is as they are. Under the law, there is a list of who should be the members of the PAMBI. And in different situations, there are as many as 100, 147 members, etc. The membership of the PAMBI is dominated by the local interests. The DNR sits as chair. It does not vote. And the PAMBI can be constituted when the DNR is absent or not available because there is another pressing engagement by the majority of the members. In the case of Chocolate Hills, it was the barangay officials that actually approved the resolution. And that is, in fact, one of the longer-standing policy changes we would like to propose, as well as a change to the legislation in terms of the construction and membership of the PAMBI and what its role should be.
That is my experience also in our legislated protected area. There are too many barangay captains. Why do you have to ask every barangay captain to be there? You can have one representative from the Association of Barangay Captains. Dito ang nagbigay ng ECC, yung barangay captain lang eh. Kasi ubot sa dami ng barangay captain eh. So ano malay ng barangay captain what is good for the environment? Sila yung pinakamadaling i-influence. In fact, in our city of Las Piñas, ang ini-influence nung gustong mag-reclaim are the barangay captain kasi madali silang lokohin. Oo. So, gusto nila mag-meeting kami at manalo yung mga barangay captain sa PAMBI meeting. Ako lang ang pumigil doon eh. Oo. Kasi I don't think it's fair. I don't think the barangay captains understand the damage that what they're going to pass at PAMBI would be disastrous to the protected area.